everyone. Welcome to today's presentation. I see some of you are starting to connect. Again, thank you, Ethan, for that introduction. And I hope some of you saw what I was up to this weekend. What were you up to this weekend? Did you get to create anything? Were you up to any artsy stuff? Did you make a video, a post, a story, a journal, whatever it was? Also, please let me know if you can hear the audio. I made some changes to the microphone, so I hope you can hear me. But yeah, as some of you are starting to connect and I see some of you are sharing already, let me, we're gonna give you a little bit, a couple seconds, maybe a minute or two for you to share it and connect. Anyways, I hope you guys really enjoyed last week's presentation. I know at least 2 to 3 people messaged me saying thank you for that and what they got out of it. I think it really started some really interesting conversations in our organization, in your mindset. A couple friends messaged me. They're like, hey, we had no idea what the differences were. You know, we have this idea of marketing is one thing, but in reality, it has multiple facets. But today's presentation is a little different. We're not going to get into marketing or none of that. This one's a little bit more about you and a big question that I've always had that or not question, but people tend to tell me, Ernesto, how are you so creative? How do you come up with these things? And then I tell them that my brain just likes to go and create things. And then I ask them, are you creative? What have you done? And people tend to say like, oh, I'm not creative. I don't do that stuff. But I think a lot of people have the misconception of what it means to be a creative and what it means to have that creativity within you. Anyways, thank you all. If you're joining us today, again, like I said, please give us a like, a thumbs up if you can hear me. I made some changes to the microphone and I don't have my monitor today, so I don't know if it's sounding good. The volume levels look good, so I am just gonna go based on that. Please leave a comment and let me know if the audio is good. As for the video, everything looks good. Presentation looks like we're ready to go. So like I mentioned, today's presentation, the title of it, let me get this stuff. I see thumbs up coming in, so that means the audio is good. Awesome. So today's topic, are you creative? And like I said, a lot of people have a misconception of what it means to be creative. Yes, creativity is being artsy, creating music, creating art, creating videos, but it's a little bit more than just that. And like I said, a lot of people have told me that maybe they are not creative, or they just say, you know what, I am not creative. I'm meant to do numbers, or I'm meant to do these other things, but I am not creative. But I have good news for you all. We are all creative in our own ways. And actually, I need to pull up my monitor for my presentation because I forgot to pull it up because I forgot what my slides look like. Let me pull that up so we can better guide ourselves today. So let me know if you have any questions in regards to today. Again, presentations are quick and short, to the point, 20 minutes. I'm not gonna take a lot of your time. You can always come back and rewatch them. The thing with the presentations is that they will only stay on my profile for a week. So today I am gonna take down last week's presentation so we can make room for this one. And so please catch them. I will start archiving those presentations, and then if you want to watch them, I'll figure out a way for you to watch the previous ones. But like I said, I want to give you about a week for you to watch the presentations, listen to it, digest it, and then you can come back the following week and ask questions. So if any of you that are watching have questions from last week, I would like to open it up with that. Let me know if you have questions. I know some people messaged me and we already met during the weekend to answer a lot of questions that they had in regards to their organization, their church. I saw some churches that were really excited about hey, we definitely need to get out there in our community. And I was actually having a conversation with our director of evangelism in regards to the topic of making sure your community knows who you are. You need to know, they need to know who you are, therefore they can trust you, and therefore they can come to your events and programs when you do send out those flyers. So, like I said, I think we answered all the questions over the weekend. So we're going to get started with today's presentation. Are you creative? And I think a big question that always pops up on what does it mean? What does it even mean to be a creative person? I think the biggest thing and definition for that is, have you ever been told to think outside the box? And if you're one of my coworkers, you got to see this presentation last Tuesday. I really enjoyed it. I think we did a lot of good stuff and we really created. So it was a presentation on creativity, creative problem solving, thinking outside the box. So have you ever been told to think outside the box? And I know people are, it sounds easy, but I always say it's an easy, hard task, because in theory it sounds easy to think outside the box, but can you really think outside the box? And what does it even mean to think outside the box? You know, we had people say you have to think different. You have to approach problems in a different way. And this is what I want to leave you guys. Like I said, last week's presentation was almost an hour long. Today is going to be 20 minutes, but this is what I want to say. When you get asked to think outside the box, really go outside of what you feel is normal, because we all have our perspectives of normal. We all have our perspective of this feels right, but being creative is thinking outside the box. And again, not just for art or videos, but in any perspective, in any problem. And that's when creativity is born, because it is not just, creativity is not just for art. Creativity is also used for problem solving. So if you are solving problems, if part of your job is to solve problems, if part of your job is to have conversations, to lead people, make sure you are thinking creatively to solve some of these problems and conversations. Now, how can I think creatively for these? And this was a really fun activity. You need to, and this is an activity I took from someone else, you need to learn how to connect the dots of your different experiences. The more experiences, the more people you meet, the more cultures, the more views, the more it's going to help you solve a problem, because you're able to connect different dots and different perspectives, different experiences into one solution. So that is creativity in its own. From an artist's point of view, you think, what is creativity? It is most of the time bringing in those inspirations from different artists and stuff you've seen, using it as inspiration. That's a whole other topic, inspiration versus plagiarism. But I like to say we are all inspired. All of our thoughts have been inspired by someone, be it by a presenter or pastor, or parents, or culture. Everything is inspired. So then you take that from within you and then you use it to creatively solve a problem. So this is what does it even mean to be creative? It means to think outside the box. So if you can solve a problem, you are a creative. Think outside what feels normal to you. And this is what I want to share with you. And if you want to write this down, if you want to screenshot it, use this every day. Like I said, and this is what I tell everyone around me: if you can solve a problem, you are a creative individual. We were made and we were created to be creative, so from this point of view, think of that. Now, some of us have been exposed a little bit less to creativity, and that's a whole other conversation. But start using those experiences that you've had at previous jobs, experiences that you've seen at different organizations. talk to people that work within your environment. I'm always connecting with other creatives, videographers, photographers to look for inspiration. Sometimes we even go out and tackle a project together, because their perspective is going to be different than my perspective, because their experiences are different than my experiences. So it is big on collaboration, and try to collaborate. If this was something that we talked about during my presentation here at the office, talk to someone else. If you're having a problem, if you hit the wall and you're having a problem solving something, maybe talk to another department and see how would they solve that problem. Because again, they have different experiences, different backgrounds in work, and maybe you can collaborate to solve a problem, issue, even a design. If you're trying to design, creating themes, collaboration is huge. So always collaborate with people out there. I know some of you are freelancers, some of you work a little more solo, but look for those people that you can connect with, people that can inspire you, people that can, like I always say, people that can turn on the light bulb to bring those ideas to you. So start thinking of, don't just face a problem, but how can you solve it creatively. So this is how does creative problem solving begin? It always begins with not knowing. It begins with a question, because I feel like we don't know everything. So there's always that question. And presentation I was listening to, it said, the average 4-year-old tends to ask about 300 to 400 questions a day, whereas when we reach the age of 17, 18, we ask maybe 1 to 2 questions a day. So asking questions in regards to a problem will help you, because again, good questions lead to good answers. So always make sure you're asking good questions. How can I better approach this? And again, ask that same question to your coworker, to family member, to a board member, to another member that might have experience with something. Or sometimes you have to go to the complete opposite spectrum and see how would someone in a different field, how would someone in a completely different industry solve this problem. So again, think of it and again, this is what being creative is. This is what makes us creative. We humans can solve problems in a creative way. So again, how does creative problem solving begin? It begins with asking good questions. So let me know if you have any questions as I'm talking, if you want me to expand a little bit more on something. Sadly, if you're rewatching this, you can't really ask those questions, but you can always send me a DM, maybe comment on the video, and hopefully I can answer it later on. But if you're rewatching this, feel free to send me a DM. That's the easiest, fastest way to get caught up. And again, to recap on what I said earlier, the presentations, they're only going to stay on my Facebook profile for 7 days. By the time the following comes around, the previous one gets deleted and this one gets archived. So last week's, if you didn't get to watch it, I might leave it for another hour or two, but then it's going to get taken down so we can make room for this one. And then I'll find a way to archive them if you want to watch the whole series later on. So again, we're talking on, are you a creative? If you can solve problems, yes, you are a creative. So, and here's something that I really, really like to think about, because a lot of people think that when you think creatively, you're going to have a straight answer. There is no straight answer that's going to come out of it. It's kind of like when you do a brainstorming session. Brainstorming sessions are to get a lot of different ideas that you can then compile into one. That's thinking creatively, and creatively solving a problem is the same. You're going to have all these ideas that are going to pop up, but then you need to start putting them into little boxes in a way, and then categorize them. And then that's going to start drawing, funneling everything, filtering everything into the right answer. So something to always remember. Nope. Next slide. When you think creatively, there is no correct answer. There are just many possible alternatives. So know that you're not going to come out to like a straight answer right away. I don't think in any situation do you reach the right answer right away, unless it's math, because math is very precise. And if you don't get the right answer right away, the teacher or the system or the program will let you know. Same with coding and computer stuff. But again, we're talking about creative problem solving. So I think, again, this is a quote I love, and I like to always remember this. When you think creatively, there is no correct answer. There are just many possible alternatives. Now you get to choose what alternative you want, or you get to put them into little boxes where they can later on be categorized. So as we're reaching the end of our presentation today, if you have questions, please let me know. And I'm very excited for next week's presentation because this is leading us to next week. I know last week was a little more, it was more marketing related. It was more related to the field, but all the topics, they're all connected. So if you're now, how can we do creative marketing for our church? That's where the brainstorming begins. That's where you need to look and get those alternatives and then funnel them into boxes and put them into categories. Because like we said, and a quick little recap on last week. Brand marketing is, does your community know you? And at least for the church, for the organization, we do have one brand. We have one umbrella that covers us all. And it is our logo. But the identity of your church, does your community know the identity of your church, or more like its personality? Do they know who you are? And you're not just a building. And we found that out through COVID. We are not just a building. We are a body of people. So does your community know who this body of people are and what they are about? So that is brand marketing. Now, direct marketing is when you start sending out flyers, when you start cold calling people, when you start putting posters and banners. But remember, they go hand in hand. You cannot do direct marketing unless you do your brand marketing, or unless your community knows your personality and who you are as an entity. So that's a quick recap. And then now, how can we start creatively solving the problem of our marketing? How can we creatively attract people into our church? And by this, I don't mean, creatively attracting people does not mean putting lights and a show. It means, how can you be more involved? Are you thinking about the problems your community is facing? And are you solving those problems for your community? Therefore, your community is going to come to you. So I think this is the main takeaway of today's presentation. And again, I know some of our pastors are watching. We have some of our directors also watching, some of our co-workers here in the office. Thank you for watching, but also for all of our freelancers out there that are watching. I know some of you are creatives that work for the church. Some of you are creatives that freelance for the organization, or you're just out there running your own business. Start thinking about these sorts of things, because the day you can solve problems for your community, it is the day your community will respond and trust you. So, what is next week's presentation about? Creative storytelling. Telling your story. And this one, I'm super excited about it. I'm super passionate about the topic. And I want you all to definitely invite some of your friends to watch. I know some of our directors at national level are definitely thinking of joining because they've been really intrigued to watch it. But I definitely want to encourage you all to look forward to that presentation. And I see we have a question that came in. Bronx, first of all, Bronx, thank you for joining. Thanks for everything you do. How do you deal with negative feedback after spending a lot of hours on creative planning to stay motivated? let's see if we can put that up here. How do you deal with negative feedback and spend a lot of hours on negative feedback after spending a lot of hours on a creative plan and keep motivated? Sadly, some of us wish our ideas worked and were a hit every single time because we truly believe in them. But it is part of, not every idea is always going to take off. You need to remember that, for example, Thomas Edison had thousands of patents and thousands of inventions, but which ones are his main highlight ones? Just because maybe you receive some negative feedback, negative criticism, it does not mean it's not a good one. It might not have been the right one for your audience or for your organization or your entity. But try again, go back to the drawing board, and that's where the creativity needs to flow. Because if every idea worked on the first go, I don't think we would be too creative. And again, remember, what works for others might not work for you, because each organization, and Bronx, I'm going to answer to you because each church is different. What works for the church down the street does not work for the church that you attend. Now, because we live in different communities, the needs of the community that you serve are not the same needs that the pastor up in North Cascade is serving. The needs are going to be different. Therefore, the way you're reaching people, the way you are bringing these ideas are different. Again, remember, or again, since we're talking about the church, what might work for those big mega churches we all see online might not work for smaller churches. I know, Bronx, you attend a church plant and you guys are doing amazing with your community, with your young adults. You guys are rocking, but remember, what works in those big mega churches, those big entities, might not be what works in a church plant. Again, budgets, staffing might be different. So I hope that kind of answered the question. If you want to give me more context, I can go down more down that road. But man, keep your head up. I know you're doing awesome stuff. I am also sad about the news you gave me last time that you guys might be leaving. Sorry if I spilled the beans, but I love working with you, Bronx. You're awesome, and you guys are always bringing some good stuff to church. So I see a thumbs up. So I hope I answered the question. But again, and what I said to Bronx is not just for him. Always remember that I know people in marketing teams for big organizations, and what they think is going to be the biggest hit, it's not. Remember when Instagram added video feature to their posts where you could upload videos, and then they created IGTV? That was in their mindset the next big thing. Sadly, it wasn't properly executed, but then when TikTok came around with their video platform, it took off. And now Instagram is trying to be like the other one. But again, sometimes those ideas are just too early to be brought out to the game. So I think we're going to wrap it up today. And like I said, don't miss out on next week's presentation, creative storytelling, and why you should be telling your story. Why should you, your entity, your organization, your church, why should you be telling your story? And like I said, I'm very passionate about that topic. I've had many presentations about that. And please tune in next week. This presentation is going to stay here on my feed for the next 7 days. But next week, after the next presentation, it will be taken down. So I hope, any other questions, anybody else out there that's watching, let me know. If not now, send me a DM if you get to rewatch this. I wish you were here so you could ask now and we could properly answer a little more extensively on your question. But if you're rewatching this, send me a DM and I'll answer your question. Alrighty, I think we're going to wrap it up for today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. And I already talking to some other people that are going to be our guest speakers here in the future, because we want you to get the best from professionals in this area. So make sure you have questions. Make sure you look at what the topic that is coming up. Write down those questions and just fire away those questions, because that's what this is. This is a two-way conversation. It is a little bit of teaching, but also something where we, the whole community, can learn and take it away. Alrighty, so we're gonna wrap it up for today. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific time zone.